So the Mandela Effect. There's a little thing going around on the internet called the Mandela Effect. It's a theory. And funny enough, if you Google this theory, or if you type it into Wikipedia, it comes up with confabulation, I believe that's the word. Basically meaning BS. You don't know what you're talking about. So that sounds a little suspicious when you look up a theory that has to do with memories changing. That's what the theory is about. The theory is about commonly shared memories totally not aligning with reality, right? So it's like several people, including me, have a memory of Nelson Mandela, who, when he was in prison in the 80s, he actually just died in prison because of, who knows, the horrible conditions of living in prison at the time and his location. But in this reality, I was shocked in 2013. I was shocked by this when I found out that Nelson Mandela died that year. Because I had a vivid memory all throughout my childhood of just sheerly knowing that Nelson Mandela was a huge political figure. He was known as being a sort of peaceful activist or something of that nature, but his life was tragic because he died in prison. And he was released from prison at some point and then lived until 2013. And like, you can call me crazy. Go ahead. I don't care. Honestly. Many people have the same exact memory. So if you're like me and you have this memory, or if you have different memories from what our reality is actually like, you're probably not crazy. You're probably actually less crazy than the people that think that you're crazy. So a couple of Mandela effects have made me want to make this video. Actually, one of them, which I'll save for the very end because that's a very important one to me, we're gonna go with the Bible next for the Mandela effect. Maybe I'll list off a couple right now. How about that? The Berenstain Bears, or Berenstain. If you've ever read those books when you were a child, you would have known that the spelling of Berenstain was Berenstein, right? Isn't that how you spell Berenstain? Isn't that how Stein is always spelled? Any kind of Stein. Like, that name, I don't know where it comes from. It might be German, who knows? But Stein typically is Stein. And now if you pick up your Berenstain book, it's not Berenstain, it's Berenstain. 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 Stain? Stain. Stain. Not Stein? Huh. That's how I felt when I found out about that. Back in, what, September is when I found out about that one? Okay, so there's a couple of other Mandela effects, like obviously Nelson Mandela, the one that the thing is named after. Star Wars, the final quote, you know, where Luke is on the ledge, and he's just like, no, I will not come with you. He's like, and then Darth Vader is like, Luke, I am your father. Or something like that. You know what I mean? And then now it says, no, Luke, I am your father. And another one is Snow White. It's not mirror, mirror on the wall when she's standing in front of the mirror. It's not mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most bitchin' of them all? It ain't that. No, it's not that. Now it is mirror, mirror. Or, sorry. Because I'm not used to it. I'm not from this fucking universe. Ha! 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 Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the most bitchin' of them all? It's not Magic Mirror. It's never been Magic Mirror. I know in Grimm's Fairy Tale, she referenced it as Magic Mirror. She's like, yeah, sure, Magic Mirror, what up? But it didn't do that in Disney, not that I remember. whatever. Chick-fil-A, or whatever, has recently been changed. And I remember this because I remember, like, reading the news feeds about how Chick-fil-A was being an arsehole to gay people. They were like, we just don't like him. Sorry, gay people, but you can't work here. And I remember that was a big thing. That Chick-fil-A, and I've never ever been to a Chick-fil-A, whatever you call it. Never been to one, but the spelling of it is no longer the little catchy, smaller name. It's not CHIC-A-Fila, how that's spelled. But the first part of it has changed. It is now with a K. It's with a K. That's confusing. And then, oh, here's another one, because I have made plenty of jokes about these things. Diapers. Adult diapers. Depends, right? Isn't that, oh, are we going with Grandma? Are we going to hang out with Grandma today? I don't know, it depends. Right? Let's try that joke again with the new Mandela Effect, okay? Okay, here we go. Are we hanging out with Grandma today? I don't know, it depends. Exactly. The punchline is gone. It's gone. It's kind of funny now. A little bit funnier. Depend. But what is this? Huh? Alright. So, I have the Bible right in front of me. And I hold it onto I have this on my shelf here in my living room, right? Next to my other German Bible that is really flippin' old. So I wonder, a couple of verses in this English Bible have been changed. I wonder if in the German Bibles they've been changed as well. They're lucky I don't know German as well as I'd like. I can download it though, you know. Anyway, so a couple of verses in here have changed, and me, I am not religious, have not been. Probably there were a few years in like middle school when I was like, yeah, I like reading the Bible, or more like, I like the idea of reading the Bible. And I went to church with people, and I would listen to other people read the Bible out loud, and sometimes I would read it. But I was, you know, when I was a child, I would go to church with my friends, or I'd go to church out of my own volition. It was never a family thing. So it was honestly, I would go to church probably 3 times a year at most, you know? Or at the least 3 times a year, and at the most 4? So, not very often, and even recently I've been going to church, but still not my thing. But in any case, there's a part in the Bible that has been changed. So if you are an avid Bible reader and you have these words written in your soul now because you've been reading the Bible your whole life, you will be able to understand this. And, you know, even if the Bible itself physically has changed, there's a point when you need to trust yourself, and you need to trust what you've read your entire life, and you need to look at this and be like, yo, this does not match up. I know this is not a translation. This is not a weird translation. It's never been this translation. And, you know, you just gotta trust yourself, all right? So, Isaiah 11:6. Isaiah 11:6. So this is one I actually do know about. I do remember this. I don't really remember the tales about it, but here, let's go. So Isaiah 11:6. Here's how I remember it being. And the lion will lay with the lamb. And so on for the rest of the quote. The leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together. And a little child will lead them. So here's what it says in my Bible, though. I'll show it to you. Wah, wah, wah. The wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat, and the calf and the lion and the yearling together. So the first part, the very first part, the wolf will live with the lamb. If you've ever heard that quote, you know it's not a wolf. It's a fucking lion. They're talking about lions. They have a strong... I've noticed in this religion that they have a strong correlation to lions, to the gentleness that lions can actually have. Like a lion laying down with a lamb. A lion could be friends with a lamb. A lion, it's beautiful with its beautiful mane. I just always remember that. Like a lion being connected to this religion. And even Martin Luther King, this is totally off track, but a voice recording of him talking backwards, he's talking about the heart of the lion, you know? So and he himself was a pastor, I believe. So in my universe, there's never been like a sort of correlation with the wolf and the lamb. A wolf laying down and being Gentile with the lamb. I never heard of that. I mean, unless this is a Native American book, because that's when they will talk about wolves. Yeah, what? Moving on. All right. So I'm going to keep this short, even though it's like going on 11 minutes. But another one that stuck out to me is the Lord's Prayer. So this is one that I do remember very well because I have recited it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if you have ever been to church, you've at least recited it once. Maybe. So the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art thou in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us forgive us for trespassing, for we have also trespassed, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. That was kind of hard. Sorry. So what it has changed to is no longer, let's see, this is verse Matthew 6:11 that I'm reading this from. 6:12, actually. 6:12 has been changed. So it no longer says, forgive us for trespassing, as we have also trespassed. It says, forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. What? I've never seen that before. I've never heard of that before. And now if you Google it, it's there all the time. And sure, this might have been a change. I think this is one that's... Oh, it kind of gets to me because it's like, shit, it's like I clearly remember trespassing, it being with a T. I don't know about the debts thing. But whatever. Like, honestly, this stuff is happening for a reason. So the next one... the next verse is Matthew 7:1. And someone else quoted it better than I did because, you know, I'm not as well versed in my Bible verses, but in this Bible it says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. Judge not others, for you cannot judge them," or something like that. I don't know. Basically, I remember that being worded differently, though. I remember it being worded much more fancily, because this is, like, pretty dang simple. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. I remember it being, like, judge not unto others, for they may not judge unto you, or something like that. You know what I mean? It was something more majestic, and this is just basic as F. Because I know there are going to be people that are not a fan of swearing that may be watching this, so I will be cautious for you. Okay, so what else do I got? I don't know, I marked a couple of other ones, and I don't know if I know these as well. Yeah. Yeah, and even, okay, so here's the Lord's Prayer again in Luke 18. Here we go. 11:2. He said to them, "When you pray, say, Father, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Give us each day our daily bread. Forgive us our sins, for we also forgive everyone who sins against us. And lead us not into temptation." So it's a pretty similar thing, but I remember the sins, actually, yeah. I remember the sins, and I remember the trespassing. I don't know about the debts. I don't have a recollection of that. All right, moving on, and here is the finale, everyone. Sorry, don't mean to Bible thump. Oh, what? All right, so here's the final one. So when I heard about these Mandela effects, I looked around and I was like, Febreze has changed. This is something that somebody else has mentioned. Febreze has changed. It no longer has up to 3 E's. It no longer, or 4 E's. It no longer has 4 E's. It once said Febreze, right? Febreze. But now it says Febreze. So now it's Febreze. That's not right. But they still call it Febreze. Okay. So there's an example of logo changing again. So, okay, now the finale. Once I heard about that shit, once I saw that had changed, that was the most recent one, I was like, okay. Other people also noted that since these were changing around them to their most favorite things, they were like, okay, let's try to influence one. Let's try to influence the Mandela Effect. And I think without even writing it on the internet at all, I didn't write this down. I never wrote this down. All I did was set the intention. I was like, okay, other people are going to try to change things. If this is such a matrix, we're going to try to influence the change with our thoughts, obviously, because that's the fourth universe or the fourth dimension that I don't think scientists have really connected with yet. In any case, I set my intention. I set my intention for a specific candy bar. Since I was a child, this candy bar, I remember the jingles, I fucking loved it. I loved it. I loved this chocolate bar. It's not no Three Musketeers. I'm gonna tell you, it's very simple. I even had a principal in high school who had a name that was similar to this. His name was Cat. That's the start of it. See, that's the hint. His name was Cat. So I like to call him Kit Kat, right? And Kit Kat has always had a dash in the middle. I'm pretty sure Kit Kat has always been Kit-Kat. And now, this is the one that I've been influencing. So my intention when I was influencing this one was going to be different. So this one threw me off, actually, that, like, the dash was missing. For 2 seconds, I, like, was convinced that this was not changed. I was like, that's not the effect that I wanted it to have. So it must not be right. But even though it wasn't the effect I wanted it to have, like, this is right. So what I intended to actually affect was the spelling of the first word. I didn't mind the dash being there. I wanted it to be cat. I wanted it to change to cat. That way everybody would be like, what the fuck? But obviously that would have been too much for everybody right now. So instead it's Kit, no dash cat. So it's Kit Kat. It's not Kit Kat. It's Kit Kat. Kit Kat. Kit Kat. So it's different. So I just want to let you guys know that I chose to change Kit Kat. And you can believe that if you want. I don't care. So since this has changed, this is the one I've actually been waiting months to see change. And back in February, I set the intention. I was like, Kit Kat will change. It will change. It will be a part of the Mandela Effect. It will be. Because this is my favorite candy bar. It has to happen. People have to see this. And if it's meant to be, it will be. And guess what? It was meant to be. I changed it. And probably a bunch of other people that love the shit out of that candy bar had the same idea. And they said, you know what? Enough is enough. We're going to change this. We will influence the Mandela effect. So, if you are still in on this, if you're still following me, I recommend you take something that you love from childhood, from the very beginning, even if you are a kid right now watching this. Take something that you love, like Barbies, Tonka trucks, Angry Birds, geez, whatever the kids are into these days. Take something that you love, that everybody knows about, and change it. I guarantee you will influence the next Mandela effect. And if you do that, please make a video like I did telling people about how you influence the Mandela effect. All right? So that means when I influenced that, I influenced the controllers of this matrix. I influenced the matrix. So now everybody that has a changed Bible, like me, everybody that has totally different verses now in their Bible about the wolf laying with the lamb, people that actually see the change know now that we are in fact in a hologram, and that this holographic book has been changed. But the only thing that is consistent is our memories. But our memories become more holographic when we give in to the idea that, oh, this is reality. Well, these changes are real. I mean, really fake. It's always been the wolf. It's always been the wolf with the lamb. Or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I imagine a person would be like that reads this. I don't know. I'm going to show this to my friends later and see what they think. Because I have friends that read the Bible much more than I do, and that are probably more in tune with the words. So they'll be able to help me out with that. But in the meantime, I hope you all can help me out with, influencing the Mandela effect. Let's do this. Let's wake up. Let's wake up the world, because I can see now that this whole Mandela effect is, it's really important for people right now to actually wake up to the reality of it. It's very important, because the people that ignore the changes, and that say they just dismiss them. They're like, oh, yeah, it really is confabulation, just as Wikipedia says when you Google Mandela effect. They're such pansies that they can't even make an article about the Mandela effect. They can write it about a lot of other things, even 9/11 conspiracies, I think, but the Mandela effect. Sounds like Wikipedia might be in on it. Yeah, how about that? That food for thought. But the people that are asleep, I can see now that, the people that ignore these changes are, I guess, gonna be missing out on facing the truth. Instead, people that are just kind of letting these changes occur without questioning it are gonna be really more delusional than, people that trust their own intuition. So even though our reality literally is changing around us, we have to trust ourselves. You gotta trust yourself, all right? But yeah, the people that are waking up to this, that are taking note of it, are definitely opening their eyes to the truth of things. And it's so funny because the truth, it's really simple. It really is a very simple thing to take in. And it's a very simple thing to do. It's a very simple thing to be honest. It takes so much more energy to fabricate things, to lie, to be deceitful. It's so much more energy to give yourself illusions, to feed yourself illusions, to tell yourself, this is real. This is totally real. But the fact that you're saying this is real like that, like the fact that you're telling yourself this is real, means that you probably doubt the reality of it. You know what I mean? You doubt it yourself, so you're telling yourself, yes, this is real, this is real. But, dude, stop reassuring yourself. Any kind of sign, like, that name, I don't know where it comes from. It might be German, who knows? But Stein typically is Stein. And now if you pick up your Bernstein book, it's not Bernstein, it's Berenstain. 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 Stain? Stain. Stain. Not Stein? Huh. That's how I felt when I found out about that. Back in, what, September is when I found out about that one? Okay, so there's a couple of other Mandela effects, like obviously Nelson Mandela, the one that the thing is named after. Star Wars, the final quote, you know, where Luke is on the ledge, conditions of living in prison at the time and his location. But in this reality, I was shocked in 2013. I was shocked by this when I found out that Nelson Mandela died that year. Because I had a vivid memory all throughout my childhood of just sheerly knowing that Nelson Mandela was a huge political figure. He was known as being a sort of peaceful activist or something of that nature, but his life was tragic because he died in prison. And he was released from prison at some point and then lived until 2013. And like, you can call me crazy. Go ahead. I don't care. Honestly. So the Mandela Effect. There's a little thing going around on the internet called the Mandela Effect. It's a theory. And funny enough, if you Google this theory or if you type it into Wikipedia, it comes up with confabulation, I believe that's the word. Basically meaning BS. You don't know what you're talking about. So that sounds a little suspicious when you look up a theory that has to do with memories changing. That's what the theory is about. The theory is about commonly shared memories totally not aligning with reality, right? So it's like several people, including me, have a memory of Nelson Mandela, who, when he was in prison in the 80s, he actually just died in prison because of, who knows, the horrible... And he's just like, no, I will not come with you. He's like, and then Darth Vader is like, Luke, I am your father. Or something like that. You know what I mean? And then now it says, no, Luke, I am your father. And another one is Snow White. It's not mirror, mirror on the wall when she's standing in front of the mirror. It's not mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most bitchin' of them all? It ain't that. No, it's not that. Now it is mirror, mirror. Or, sorry. Because I'm not used to it. I'm not from this fucking universe. Ha! 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 Magic mirror on the wall. Many people have the same exact memory. So if you're like me and you have this memory, or if you have different memories from what our reality is actually like, you're probably not crazy. You're probably actually less crazy than the people that think that you're crazy. So a couple of Mandela effects have made me want to make this video. Actually, one of them, which I'll save for the very end because that's a very important one to me, we're gonna go with the Bible next for the Mandela effect. Maybe I'll list off a couple right now. How about that? The Berenstain Bears, or Berenstain. If you've ever read those books when you were a child, you would have known that the spelling of Berenstain was Berenstein, right? Isn't that how you spell Berenstein? Isn't that how Stein is always spelled?